Lainey, welcome to Manchester.
Thank you so much.
It's lovely to have you here. I understand it's your first time in Manchester.
This is unbelievable. I went to one of the vintage shops right up the road, and I spent way too much money.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But this is a beautiful city, and my first time here, and excited to be here.
Fantastic. And you're in the UK on tour. You've just been in Germany as well.
Yes, we just got back. We were in Germany with one of my dear friends, Eric Pasley. He's an incredible singer-songwriter, performer, just an awesome dude. And now we're in the UK with one of my big influences growing up, Mr. Josh Turner.
Fantastic. And it's your third time in the UK in around about 12 months.
So the first time I came to the UK was about a year ago, but since then we have been over here. We have been here 3 times in the past year. So if you add up the amount of time that we've really been here, we've been here about a month out of the entire year.
Brilliant. And how are you finding the UK audiences? They certainly seem to be taking to you.
It's really hard for me to explain to anybody, especially when I go back home and people ask about it, because it is something that you truly do have to experience yourself, because it's absolutely crazy. This might sound crazy, but for me to be able to sing my songs and people listen and truly care about, the hard work that I put into my songs and the lyrics and the melodies, and it is just an overwhelming feeling for everybody, every country artist that I've talked to that comes over here. And so we just keep on coming back. So if y'all keep on having us, we'll keep coming.
That sounds good to us. And you mentioned all the work you put in. We understand you've just finished an album and it's going to be released not too soon.
Yes, so soon. I'm so excited. I'm so proud of these songs. Couldn't be more proud. Everybody asks me which one's my favorite, and they're all my babies. It's wild, but I have an EP coming out on September 13th, which is, I guess next Friday, sneaking up on us.
It is.
But it's 4 songs on there, and one of those will be my single that's going to go to country radio, and then the rest of the record will probably be released towards the beginning of next year. But going to give y'all a little snippet of what's to come, so.
Okay. What were the inspirations for it?
I feel like I've been truly writing for this record my entire life. I moved to Nashville about 9 years ago and have put my heart and soul into every song that I've written, but I feel like I have grown as a songwriter and, trying to perfect my craft, and I think it's just this daily thing that, we try to do as songwriters. But I am... whether it was experiences from my life or my co-writer's life or my friend's life or a story that I just heard, it all comes from something that's real and honest. So I'm excited to share that.
Brilliant. And you mentioned you were in Nashville quite a while now.
Yes.
How's your songwriting actually changed over that time, if at all?
Yeah, so it's crazy because I feel like it has definitely gotten better, but the things that I write about are pretty much the same. I write about how I was raised. I write about, about things that, about heartbreak, about boys, about, real situations in my life. So that is the one thing that has stayed the same. But I have gotten to be able to be in a room with the best songwriters in Nashville. And I've had the opportunity to sit in there and learn and just, soak in all these incredible qualities that they have. And hopefully it's kind of wearing off on me a little.
Brilliant. And you mentioned the songwriters you've worked with. Who did you work with on this release?
So the guy that produced my EP and my record, his name is Jay Joyce. He is one of my favorite producers of all time. He does people like Eric Church, Brothers Osborne. He's done a little bit of everybody. But he's just got this unique sound. So he's the one that produced it. But all 12 songs were written by different songwriters in Nashville. Brent Anderson, Jonathan Singleton, some of my dear friends. Man, who else? Let's see, Jason Nix. There's a lot of cool people on the record.
Fantastic. Did you face any particular challenges with this, or was it all pretty much plain sailing?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Being in Nashville has not been easy. Like I said, I've been there for a really long time, and there's been times where people thought I was crazy for not packing my bags and moving back home to Louisiana. But I knew that I was there to stay, so I was going to figure it out one way or another. So it has been very difficult, It is a uphill climb for sure. I moved to Nashville in a camper trailer, and I lived in a camper for about 3 years, and I was known as the camper trailer girl around town. But I was okay with that. And yes, it has just been one of those things where I've had to set my mind to it and know that I'm going to find my place in that town some way or another. And the crazy thing is that town has somehow brought me to the other side of the world.
Fantastic. I did read some stories and hear some stories about your camper trailer time. I mean, it must be quite something to reflect on that now and see that in the space of a few years you've gone from that to signing a record deal to releasing your EP and now this release. How do you look back and think?
It feels pretty great. It's kind of bittersweet. You know, it makes me feel like I am on the right track. But I always tell people that even though it has been hard to get to this point, I know that the hard work is just beginning. I feel like I've been preparing for the race. Now I've entered it. Now I'm about to run it. So the hard work is just beginning, but I'm ready.
Brilliant. I mean, you're always honest in interviews. You're honest on stage and you're honest in your songwriting. How does it feel to you that you're putting everything out there for people to hear and really just opening up completely to audiences?
Yeah, you know, I kind of feel like that's my job. That's the way that I connected to certain artists growing up. Dolly Parton, Leanne Womack, Tim McGraw. I feel like all of them in some way were honest and vulnerable and put themselves out there, and that's what, you know, drew me to them. So that's what I'm hoping that I can do and hope I can and make people feel like, you know, they're not completely alone.
Fantastic. You mentioned you worked with Jay Joyce,
Yes.
Who has an incredible reputation.
Yes.
How did that come about?
So one of the guys that actually wrote the song L.A. that's going to be on the EP, his name is Frank Romano, and he's a dear friend of mine, but he was also a dear friend of Jay Joyce's. And I know he mentioned my name to him a few times, and I think after hearing my name about 10 times, thanks to Frank, he connected us, and I went over to his studio, which is an old, like, abandoned church, and he redid it into a studio, and it is unbelievable. But I went over there and I hung out with him, and I thought maybe I was going to play a few songs for him, and I didn't. We were just kind of getting to know each other, and then he called me again and was like, hey, come over to the studio. That next week I went over there and picked up a guitar and played him a few songs, and then I texted him later and I said, I'm getting ready to do a record. I just signed a record deal, and I'm sure you get this a lot, but I would love to, you know, be able to work with somebody like you. And he was like, well, I was thinking the same thing. So that's how that happened. It was the craziest thing because I had already told my label. They said, who would you like to, you know, produce your record? And I said, well, I'd love to have Jay Joyce do it, but I'm sure everybody says that. Mm-hmm. And they were like, well, we can see what we can do, but, you know, he's never produced anybody over here on the label. So I got to go to them and tell them I had already talked to him before they could even reach out. So it made me look a lot cooler.
It must have been such a thrill to hear that he wanted to work with you as well.
It was unbelievable. I was like, what in the world? But, you know, we just became great friends, and he is like a mad scientist in the studio. I mean, he would like walk up to people's guitars and like untune them a little bit just so it sounds a little wonky. And that's what makes what he does so special.
Brilliant. So, obviously here in Manchester, it's your first time in Manchester performing live. What can fans who haven't had the opportunity to see you before expect?
A good time. We're going to have a good time. We are, basically, my job is to get the crowd pumped up for Josh Turner, and I just want them to be able to connect with me and get to know me. It's just me and my guitar up there, so hopefully I can get to know the crowd a little too, and yeah.
Brilliant. And you're performing at Long Road tomorrow?
I am.
Brilliant.
At 3 o'clock tomorrow, Sunday, so I hear it's country out there. I love it.
Yeah, excellent. And once this tour's finished, what do you have planned then? Obviously, you've got the release coming up, so
yes.
What are you doing around that and what's coming after that?
Yeah, so I'm about to start a 9-week radio tour where my label is sending me out all across America to play for as many radio stations as I possibly can and try to get them to like me and my music and hopefully they'll spin it. And then I'm just, you know, going to hit the road some more. I've got a few dates. So, like, I'll be gone Monday through Friday visiting radio stations, but on the weekends I normally have shows. So I'll be flying from whatever city I'm in to whatever city I'm playing in.
Brilliant. Well, we can't wait to hear the album.
Thank you.
I'm sure it'll be a huge
Thank
success.
you so much.
And good luck with it. Thank you so
Thank
much
y'all
for speaking
having
to
me.
us.
Thank you so much. This was great.